Copper Golems are pretty awesome. They help you organize basic storage, but they also allow redstone experts to do things that were previously impossible in Minecraft. Mojang really cooked with these little dudes. They gave noobs and veterans a new tool that adapts to your skill level in the game. Today, we're going to use Copper Golems to automatically sort every non-stackable item in Minecraft. If you can't get enough Copper Golems, you could even adapt this design to sort stackable items as well. Welcome to the next generation of Minecraft storage. If you haven't seen my other videos about Monster Storage, it's a downloadable mega storage build that automatically sorts every stackable item in the game. Today, we're going to make that every item in Minecraft. Go watch the previous videos after you watch this one. You can find links to those videos, a world download, and schematics in the description. If you just want the non-stackable sorter, it's available separately, or you can just download Monster Storage version 3 and sort everything in one build. Before we start the tour, please allow me to thank all of you who support me and the growth of this YouTube channel. I started posting Minecraft builds here a few months ago, and I've seen hundreds of you subscribe and join my Discord. If you haven't subscribed yet, give it a try. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe. If you like what you see here, consider liking this video and sharing it with your friends. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll attempt to make a bedrock version of Monster Storage. That's going to take some serious effort, so the quicker we hit that goal, the quicker I can get started. Now let's talk about this awesome new Copper Golem sorter. In this hallway, I've included bulk storage for every non-stackable item in the game. By using Copper Golems and some innovative new redstone contraptions, we're automatically sorting potions and books, tools, secondary tools, weapons, armor, mob armor, bundles and beds, minecarts and boats, food and banner patterns, and music discs. And if something ends up in here that shouldn't be, there's plenty of storage for miscellaneous items as well. By utilizing the same bulk storage technology as the rest of Monster Storage, you could add a tileable shulker box loader to each chest silo for theoretically infinite non-stackable item storage. I did the hard part, so you can customize this however you'd like. Let's take a quick look at the sorting system before we deep dive into how all of this works. Up here, we have the hopper lines leading into the system. If you're using this as an add-on with Monster Storage, these hopper lines connect directly to the non-stackable lines from the pre-filters in the ingest system. If you're using it independently of Monster Storage, this is where you would need to input your non-stackable items. The items then move into a large chest buffer because Copper Golems are much slower than hopper speed when sorting non-stackable items. A word of caution. If you put thousands of non-stackable items into the system at the same time, it is possible for this to clog. It will eventually work itself out if you clean out the miscellaneous chests in the hallway below, but it's best to be conservative when adding massive numbers of items to the system. Next, the items enter the copper chest and are sorted by the 9 Copper Golems sitting in minecarts on a mud block with a rail. This very specific 1x1 sorting configuration is the most efficient use of Copper Golems. It keeps the sorting speed as high as possible without overwhelming the second string of Copper Golems. This very specific chest layout allows me to use very specific redstone on all 9 category chests while utilizing a 10th non-directional chest to filter out potions, books, and miscellaneous items. You haven't seen this design yet because I've spent months working to perfect it, but I'm excited to share it with the world and would love to see it make the rounds in the Minecraft storage tech community. After the Copper Golems put the items into the categorized filter chests, my new redstone filters lock and unlock the hoppers below the chests to send the items to their designated category storage. Those hopper lines lead to more copper chests, so the second string of less imprisoned Copper Golems can put the items into their final destination chests below. In my testing, 9 Copper Golems per category seemed to be the right amount for this layout. For categories with fewer items, like mob armor, I'm only using 7 Copper Golems. Finally, the items make their way into the hallway below the Copper Golems. I know some people may want to see the Copper Golems doing the work, but this design keeps them hidden for better performance while accommodating my existing space constraints. This design should have minimal impact on your game performance, even if you're running Minecraft on a potato. That concludes the showcase of this design, but I'd encourage all of you to watch the rest of this video as it contains crucial information about the technical workings of the build and will teach you everything you didn't know about Copper Golems. First, since this always comes up in the comments, let's talk about compatibility with older versions of Minecraft. Pasting the Copper Golem sorter with WorldEdit or Lightmatica requires the use of Minecraft Java 1.21.11. You can absolutely build this block by block, but you'll need to continue watching to learn how everything works. It's way more complicated than my previous builds. This is also true of Monster Storage version 3 since it includes the Copper Golem sorter in the basement. If you haven't updated to 1.21.11, in my humble opinion, now's the time. Before we get into the deep dive of how I came up with this design and how it works, I want to give credit to the other creators who kept me entertained with their Copper Golem testing. Izumavoid, Mumbo Jumbo, Red Nomster, Raiseworks, and Rapscallion1138. I've included links to their Copper Golem videos in the description below. If I'm using specific mechanics that belong to someone I don't mention, please let me know and I'll add them to the description. So, how did I get here? Let's start at the beginning when my brain wasn't keeping me up at night with the sounds of Copper Golems opening chests. It all started with Raiseworks and Mumbo Jumbo's first Copper Golem videos during the 1.21.8 snapshots. I found them amusing and added Copper Golems to my list of concepts to explore. Then Mumbo's second video dropped where he showed off Red Nomster's video, but I was bummed that the layout was only 8 chests and that it was directional, but I decided to start playing with it anyways. By reading the Minecraft wiki, I learned that Copper Golems can use 10 chests before their memory breaks. In my first attempt at designing a chest layout that could sort all the non-stackables in the game, I was only able to get 9 chests working with the Copper Golems. I still wanted a 10th miscellaneous chest for unfiltered items, so I decided to wait. Maybe someone else will figure out a solution soon. It didn't take very long. Within just a few days, a member of my Discord shared Rapscallion1138's video with me. Thanks for pointing that out, Tialund76. I appreciate it. In that video, he explains that putting Copper Golems into a minecart positioned beyond the center point of a mud block on a rail would allow for 2 game-changing Copper Golem behavior modifications. The first change allows Copper Golems to access 3 layers of chests instead of 2. Since the mud block has a slightly shorter block height than a full block, Copper Golems can reach chests below their block height. The second change relies on the minecart and rail. By nudging a Copper Golem against a wall before dropping them onto the mud block and rail, you can push them past the center point of the mud block. This specific position guarantees they will check all the chests on that side of the block before checking the 10th chest on this side of the block. That was the final piece of the puzzle I needed to continue this project. Directional independence and 10 chests were finally possible. Now I just had to figure out a chest layout that works. This was my first attempt using the nudged Copper Golems, but they treated the front 3 chests as the same distance and wouldn't always check the 10th chest last. I needed to move to a 3-layer chest layout. After messing with several designs, I finally got this one to work. With the copper chest at the bottom, the top chest is always the furthest from the Copper Golems. This design also gives me enough room to do redstone, but just barely. Oh, one more thing. Because the Copper Golems have to stay perfectly aligned in their minecarts, I decided to add trapdoors and a sea lantern to protect them as I'm messing with the system. If you bump them, everything will break. At this point, I had to figure out the redstone. The filter chests actually ended up being pretty similar to miss or multi-item sorter designs, but I wasn't looking at those for examples here. My goal was to sort every non-stackable item in the game with only 10 chests. It's efficient, it's compact, and that was the whole point of finding the perfect chest layout. The way I originally organized the chests was putting out higher redstone signals than I wanted, so I foolishly and brilliantly decided to pre-filter the books and potions. Although I wouldn't figure out the problems this idea would cause until later, let's just keep going for now. I organized the remaining non-stackables into 9 chests, so the 10th chest would become a miscellaneous chest for anything not meant to be in the system. Copper Golems do not care about enchantments or durability when sorting items. This also means they won't sort enchanted books, which ended up being a good thing for this design. I'll go ahead and spoil the next bit. My original pre-filtering idea didn't work. I don't really want to talk about it because I wasted hours trying to make it work. Instead, I created a new thing, post-filtering. Because we're leaving the 10th chest open to miscellaneous items, we know the Copper Golems will put any item not found in the 9 chests into the 10th chest because it's always empty. That was my brilliant plan all along. Totally. The potions, books, and miscellaneous items can use the 10th chest and the second string of Copper Golems to get the items into the right place. Yep, definitely planned it that way. 100%. Just don't look over there. No, stop it. Fine. I'll explain this as quickly as possible so we can get back to the stuff I didn't mess up. Pre-filtering works by passing your hopper line through a dropper that tries to spit books or potions into a chiseled bookshelf or a brewing stand, respectively. If an item goes through, it's pre-filtered. If it doesn't go through, it continues to the Copper Golem sorter. The problem here is that the pre-filter designs I tried were slower than hopper speed, so items would get stuck in the system. Sure, I could slow things down because the Copper Golems can't sort non-stackables at hopper speed anyways, but that would just back up the hopper lines and potentially clog monster storage. So yeah, no. I'm just going to ignore all of this. After a few hours brainstorming solutions to this self-imposed problem, my brain finally invented post-filtering. I don't know if that's already a thing, but I'm going to claim it as my own. The whole point of the 10th chest in this design is that everything not in the 9 chests passes through to somewhere else. In Rapscallion's design, he's using the 10th chest to daisy chain mini sorters into one long item line. So I can just ignore the books and potions in the 9 chests and sort them with a second string of Copper Golems. Post-filtering for the win. That allowed me to add a large chest buffer before the first copper chest. I would not suggest dumping thousands of the same item into the system all at once, or it could potentially clog. The more random your items, the better. I've stress tested this with a lot of items and have never seen it clog, but if that happens to you, join my Discord and I'll try to help you out. Going back to the redstone, if you want to see exactly how all these chests are organized, I have a spreadsheet available at the link in the description with all the items I'm using here. The point is, whatever you want in these chests needs to have reliable redstone controlling the filters. I've been burned by unreliable mist designs previously. Some of them were large, complicated, finicky, etc. And I wanted this to be the exact opposite of that. Does something like that exist? Probably. But I decided to tackle this myself since resetting these filter chests would be a massive pain. After the success of my recent foray into automatic crafting, I wanted to try using the copper bulb to lock and unlock the hopper below the filter chest. That's bad news for you Bedrock players, because this design includes observers and T flip-flops. If you remember from my crafter video, that combination doesn't work on Bedrock after reloading the gamer server. Maybe Mojang will fix it someday. My new filter design uses the change in redstone dust signal levels to trigger the observers that toggle the copper bulb T flip-flop, thus unlocking and locking the hopper below the filter chest. The crafter block acts as a secondary or backup signal in case something happens on the filter side. I don't know, I'm just cautious about all of this stuff. Technically, you could remove the secondary signal to make this even more compact, like this example over here. But I'm broken, and I break things, so this is how it's going to be for this build. Let's talk about redstone signal tuning for the filter chests. To do that, I use sticks that I've renamed to item filter. Once you have your non-stackable items in place, I'd suggest using these sticks to ensure that any item entering the chest, stackable or non-stackable, always triggers the redstone signal change. There may be a more established terminology for this, but I call it tuning. If I take half the sticks out of this stack, the signal stays at 9, but adding a 46th stick to this stack bumps the signal to 10, unlocks the hopper, lets the item through, and relocks the hopper. This ensures that the filter chests never clog and that this system remains reliable even if something like a stackable item makes its way into the non-stackable system. The other benefit to this design is that it's one-wide tileable. This is the final chest layout combined with the final filter design. Since the design is one-wide tileable, I can use it for all 9 of the filter chests. Sure, the layout is a bit weird looking, but it works 100% of the time. To make this tileable, you just need to ensure that the filter chest redstone signal matches for each section. Take a look at the player and mob armor chests. I had to bump them up to a signal of 9 so they could tile with the beds and bundles chest. This becomes even more important as you tune the filters for the second string of Copper Golems. So let's talk about the second string. Variations on this design are everywhere. I have no idea who was first, but this isn't a block-for-block copy anyways. I know Mumbo, Izuma, and Raiseworks all had something similar to this early on. My version includes my new redstone filters and is made specifically to fit in the hallway design for this project. For this part of the build, I'm using mud blocks to ensure the copper golems can reach the chests and twisting vines to help keep them from running into each other. Side note, you don't have to wax any copper golems in the system. The twisting vines and minecarts prevent them from turning into statues, but I still waxed all of them just in case. The filter chest signals are passed through the mud blocks, but otherwise, the filters remain largely the same. You still need to tune each section of the second string to the highest redstone value of the filter chests. This is an easy example because there are 4 tools of each material type for each silo. Some of them do get more complicated. For example, let's look at our post-filtering second string. These chests are sorting water bottles and potions, splash potions, lingering potions, books, and miscellaneous items. The chest layout is very different to accommodate the sheer number of items. The hopper layout is different too, since most of them dump into multiple chest silos for extra storage. For the secondary signal, I'm using lecterns with books turned to page 10 to produce a signal of 12. As a reminder, you can find all of the chest layouts and signal levels in the spreadsheet linked in the description. All that's left is some very careful hopper routing from the first string to the second string's copper chests. After hours of stress testing the system and the addition of composters to help prevent hopper lag, I was ready to decorate. I went through a few iterations and brought Kooky Eyes in to help. Together we came up with the final design that you see here. We also added some trash cans for when you inevitably end up with too many bows, saddles, or other items. Toss them in the trash and burn them in lava. Obviously, netherite gear won't burn, but if you're crazy enough to throw that in the trash, it will eventually despawn. Good for you, man. Farm that Minecraft aura. Oh boy, I think I need to be done now. If you play on Java but don't want to bother with the world editor Lightmatica schematics, you can just download the world and start playing. I built it on a great seed that's worth playing without going through the trouble of moving the building elsewhere. If you decide to use the Copper Golem non-stackable item sorter or the entirety of Monster Storage version 3, I'd love to see what you do with it. If you have any trouble, check out the frequently asked questions on the download page or reach out to me in Discord. One last thing. Please don't repackage Monster Storage or the Copper Golem sorter into other projects without my permission. Maintaining these systems is a lot of work, and I'd really appreciate it if you download it directly from me. Improvements like version 3 will only exist on my website. Thanks for understanding, good luck, and have fun!